Welcome back, BDTV. When we started, we gave you the news, of course, by 8 a.m. and hopefully you got everything you needed to see. Right now, we are holding it down on the newspaper review. Most definitely. Let me just go straight up into the different papers that we have to give you a bit of what to expect. My name is Onyeka Valentine, right here on Super Review. All right. We've got Business Day, and it's quite interesting here. It says, decades-old Naira devaluation fails to spark export. Oh, yes, decades-old Naira devaluation fails to spark export. That is in the Business Day. But I'm not alone. Yes, I've got Mr. Josh, and also I have Mr. Mohammed with me. So three of us will be doing great justice to the papers this morning.
Don't want to introduce us, but thank you very much.
Yes, I was coming down. All right, so
thank you for having us.
You're welcome. We also have juicy stuff in the Vanguard, most definitely. Look through there, you will see scarcity, most definitely. Few scarcity looms as marketers struck, I beg your pardon, owns. Yes, and of course,
truck owners.
Yes, you're correct. Truck owners boycott Lekki Ekpe corridor. I keep thinking of Lekki Express. I don't know why. Lekki Ekpe corridor, right? You have that there. Then in the Punch, yes, of course, this one comes a bit of let's just say it's a painful thing. But then again, the bloodshed there is not something to smile over. You have the governor and the assembly, they're all looking at this thing saying, what's going on? All right? So governor assembly at odd as FSGF, talk about this thing. And of course, ex-generals move. We hope they will make some great moves. But again, like I said, I'm not alone. These wonderful stories that we do have. And of course, the ones that put tears to our eyes, what's happening in Benue, not something to smile over. But let's talk about this. Mohammed. Mr. Josh, let us start with our in-house paper, okay? Old Naira devaluation fails to spark export. Boom. Let me just read that a little bit so we see where we're coming from. It says, for Nigeria, a weaker currency long touted as catalyst for export growth hasn't delivered the expected payoff. It's a long story there. But what do you think about this? Do you think this headline gives it full exposure in what we're looking at?
Okay, so two things. First, thank you again for having us, and I think it's good to be able to, x-ray the papers this morning. But first, so I think this is actually part of the Business Day series on the devaluation exercise that successive government have embarked upon.
Right.
And the question there, this analysis or this report showed was just to be able to do a deeper dive to see what has been the economic implication. Now, basic economic theory suggests that if you devalue the currency,
Right.
it is to be a source of stimulating export. Countries that are highly productive, take the case of China, for example, who are overly productive, tend to devalue their currency because by the time you devalue your currency, it makes your export cheaper, which is the idea.
But how does that work?
Okay, so because the devaluation is simply saying so if, for example, a dollar is 100 naira, basic purchasing power parity says whatever cost an American $1, for Nigerian products, if American dollar wants to be able to buy a Nigerian product, what costs us 100 naira here, an American can be able to buy that similar product exported into their country at the rate of $1, basically. Just like saying, if you look at it on the parity level, $1 to 100. So somebody in Nigeria may consider it expensive, but a country that devalued their currency and then export it to other nations will find that quite cheaper.
Become cheaper in
that place. That's the idea behind devaluation. But unfortunately, it has not really come down to us here to be able to see the proper implication, proper impact of that. Government, we'll be able to see, yes, the Naira is overvalued. Government need not to be able to defend the Naira. Let us devalue, which is where the government is trying to be able to see, okay, let's give the Naira a fighting chance. But when you look at that analysis there, show that the export volume has only been able to grow marginally. And that has not allowed us to be able to see the full gain of what devaluation should have been able to do to us. And when you be able to hear businesses, organizations that have actually been heavily impacted by devaluation challenges, I'm sure it is really, really unbelievable. And that is exactly what this analysis shows you. So for decades, in the last decades now, we have devalued more than 4 to 5 times between 2009 to now. Devaluation exercise has actually been done like 4 times, but it has not actually been able to feed in appropriately into the level of export development or export growth that we feel will be able to pick the economy expected. We're able to pick the economy into what we actually expect the economy to actually be able to get to, and that is what these. So the export boom has not been effectively sparked as we actually expect it to be. The major reason why the government decided to be able to do that, like I said, is to boost exports, but we have not really seen it in that regard, and that has not been able to touch down on our growth trajectory.
Be able to touch down our growth trajectory. Mohammed Akanji is someone who, when it comes to economic analysis, he's the one to go to. But let us move over to our very far right. Most definitely, we've got Mr. Josh. Mr. Josh is also a news analyst and season 1 at that. Mr. Josh, quickly, what do you think about this? The old Naira devaluation fails to spark export boom. Yeah. Do you think we should worry about this?
Yeah, Mohammed has rightly explained, the whole, concept and the idea behind it, and how it has failed to, spark export boom, as captured in that report. But on the flip side, I only just need to add. But yeah, while we continue to devalue for purposes of promoting or export and then making our export cheaper,
right?
Yeah, and then so we can earn foreign exchange. It also, like I said, on the flip side, but I think that devaluation should also be handled cautiously, because it can also bring about high inflation in the country that developed. But what we are facing now, why it might be cheaper for to export, to countries where you export your goods to, for them to be able to buy in volume, really, because it's cheaper for them. Is on the flip side, the citizens of the country where the currency has been devalued can really face serious issue of inflation.
Josh,
which is what we are really facing right now. So it's a tool that should be used cautiously.
Okay.
So just want to add.
But
because if you have to then because the truth is that we also import, right? So it costs a whole lot for you to be able to import goods into your own country. And of course, in a country where we don't manufacture a lot of these things, but especially let's look at manufacturers, for instance. You're going to export raw material, you are importing raw material, you are importing machinery, and a whole lot. So it costs you so much. At the end of the day, what we find is that the goods that are produced in Nigeria, because it costs so much to produce, the prices will go up, because the manufacturer will have to pass it on to consumers. At the end of the day, consumers are not able to buy. So it's not surprising, for instance, as we are now, that we hear manufacturers talking about so much, warehouses, filled with unsold stuff.
Well, again,
so it's like I say, it's a tool that it should be used cautiously.
Yeah. And then it's 2 years. Over the past 2 decades. What am I even saying? That's 2 years, 2 decades.
That
the country has devalued, Naira multiple times. And we're still talking about this thing back to back. When are we going to actually have a sense and a feel of a breather to say, you know what, it is time for us to enjoy all this devaluation. Anyways, there's more story there before we jump into other ones. Let's just take this one. This one says Nigeria faces severe hunger as food basket state boils. Nigeria faces severe hunger as food basket state boils. Nigerian food basket state is boiling as killings and deadly attack on farmers disrupt food supply and put the nation on hunger map. I don't think we got that. Should I read that again so we understand? I'll take it again. Nigeria's food basket state is boiling as killings and deadly attacks on farmers disrupt food supply and put the nation on hunger map. This is a very serious issue that should give us a lot of concern. It's not even, there's no room for sarcasm here. There's no room for maybe or not. This directly affect the lives and livelihoods of Nigeria. The one thing that gives us fuel to be able to move.
The point is that in the last, I think let even talk about recent ones. We are not even talking about the older occurrences. Let's even talk in the last 2 months, Valentine, there have been sustained killings in Benue State. Benue State is the food basket of the nation. That's where we have a lot of this, farm produce, coming from. And of course, so what has happened is that, and it's a very serious, very, very serious story, very, very serious issue, because farmers are no longer able to go to their farms because those farms have been taken over by, bandits. And of course, so there is fear and terrorists, and so there is fear that you get to farm, you are not sure of coming back alive. So people are not going to farm, and so the community, the farm communities, farm
areas have actually
so they're not doing anything. They're not farming. They're not producing. So it is a very serious matter for us as a country, and which is the reason why I would say that whatever it is that government can do. Thank God that the president is going to Benue State today, and we really hope that they will find some sort of solution,
roadmap that can give a lasting solution to this
thing.
Very important when that happens. Okay?
I mean, Mohammed, if you look at it closely, you see that we are in this country. See that we are more of a, we react to things instead of having proactive measures to mitigate
such event from occurring.
Right? We prevent it. Are we now a reaction country?
Rather than a proactive nation.
Rather than a proactive
Because it happens like that, just to be able to button. The Amnesty report, for example, showed that in 2 years of Bola Tinubu's administration, more than about 10,200 people have actually been killed. And about 6,000 of these have actually been reported to happen in Benue State, just 2 years. And it is
Benue State alone.
Benue State actually failed. Benue State alone has close about 6,000. Of these 10,000 deaths have actually been recorded according to Amnesty International. Presently, we are facing hunger issues. But with what is actually happening with farmers, not be able to go to farm, a lot of them actually be able to desert their farmland, planting season, enough not being planted. The governor or the government itself of Benue State looking a bit overwhelmed, not being proactive rather than reactive, as you'll actually be able to mention, because the Benue State of Assembly, that was the communique, that was more or less like standing up after the meeting yesterday to say that the Benue State government, the Benue State House of Assembly has failed the people of Benue for what has actually happened. And the last one, the recent one that happened in Yelwata over that last weekend, showed how important that place is when it comes to the farming activities when it goes to Benue State.
Farming.
Where about 100 to 200 people were actually killed. So it speaks so much to the likely hunger map or hunger tendencies, hunger situations that we're likely be able to experience in the next 6 months. The impact of this will become clearer maybe towards the end of this year. We'll be able to see most of those things that we could not be able to farm now. When we get to terms of harvest season, and we could not be able to become a serious challenge.
Well, as much as that story hits home and hits home very hard, I would like to press more on it. We also have to think about time too. But again, we like we always say on this show, our hearts go with the families of those who have lost their lives, and we, like we always say, we hope and pray that normalcy will return
to Benue, to Nigeria, generally.
Most definitely. All right, so on the punch, it says, of course, we just mentioned already, the bloodshed issue going on. It says governor and assembly at odds as SGF. Of course, ex-generals move in. I saw a video of some of the generals and our
chief of army staff
plus the police commissioner. They were within that area. But it looked as if they were not coordinated.
Okay.
There was a particular compound they were supposed to enter to go have some meetings or conversation. I don't know with who. But you see the police and the army, pushing each other as if the communication wasn't flowing well. So that for me will make you want to think, if there is lack of proper coordination. Then how are we going to
solve the problem?
How are we going to tackle these bandits and these people committing these heinous crimes? You know,
that's
Yeah, there should be a coordinated effort, amongst the security agencies to
definitely
be able
to get to the
deal with
root
the,
of this.
be able to deal with the situation.
all right.
That cannot be overemphasized.
Okay, can't
Yeah.
So we jump on to the Vanguard very quickly
Yes,
because
okay.
of time. All right. So the Vanguard says almost the same thing, but
So
let's
just
take a
talk about
different one.
it.
It says fuel scarcity looms as marketers, truck owners boycott Lekki Ekpe corridor. Again, fuel scarcity looms as marketers, truck owners boycott Lekki Ekpe corridor. I didn't say Lekki Express.
The corridor now. So
I
over
myself.
the e-call-up levy
Yes.
that Lagos State government, the implementation started yesterday. So there were fears recently over likelihood of fresh scarcity looming along that particular corridor. Remember that Lagos State government just be able to start up the e-call-up levy about 12,500.
Do we need that levy?
For those trucks?
For
They
what?
said
what
maintenance of the
exactly?
road and some other things, to be able to for proper tolling and for proper road maintenance and other things is actually what the government is actually talking about
Right.
the e-call-up. And then to ensure that the activities of truck owners, the truckers, are actually be able to be structured and regulated by the Lagos State government.
I have a
So,
question.
okay.
For question. We're talking about extra levy, 12,500.
So that's 500.
What about those illegal levies that they pay where you see boys hanging in the street with big 2x4 plants
and
collecting 500 naira here, 1,000 naira here before they move 100 kilometers? You have over like 10, 20
Another set of
illegal checkpoints.
checkpoints. Yeah.
So because that was what they mentioned the e-call-up system would be able to address, to be able to harmonize all these, illegal extortions and according to the Lagos State government. But it's degenerated into a serious chaos yesterday along that particular corridor because most of the IPMA members, most of the tanker drivers refuse to be able to load and then operate along that particular route.
Okay.
But the Lagos State government actually be able to came to release a statement to the effect yesterday that they are looking into it and trying to be able to see how they can be able to come to terms.
But it's also good to add, if you look at, Mohammed, our experience in Apapa, so it's also good that the Lagos State government is trying to put some measures in place to making sure that all the tankers don't move at the same time to the Dangote refinery, because we saw that kind of situation in Apapa where often the Apapa was locked, for lockdown and such that people could not even get in or come out from Apapa. So it's good that this should be done, but I think
it
should be done with human face. I mean,
will the money be properly channeled to the right?
Because that's the question NATO members.
No, but
what do I say? Is it going to private accounts? Is it going to the government? Yeah, the government claim it's actually from the government.
The e-call-up system is being done in collaboration with. It's not solely Lagos State government. It's being done with private consortium.
Well.
So definitely, it's a PPP. It's a PPP. So
all right. So we hope that PPP will enable us drive to our homes. And at the same time, not being harassed by some certain area boys who will now come and tell you they have to collect money from some truck, and you're causing crazy gridlock and unwanted traffic.
And that's where the Lagos State government has failed. Lagos has failed woefully. We must say it, to tame the activities of the area boys.
The area boys, the touts, can just extort.
Everywhere you find them, you see them everywhere, every junction, stopping even the tankers driver who have already paid, even the so-called call-up fee now.
Before that, they 12,500. So I think there's one they pay at already for 7,000 already before now.
They stop them along the road everywhere they go to collect money from them. I see a lot of that. All over Lagos, extortion.
At the end of the day, all this money, the end customer will have to pay for it.
That's what they are saying as well, because it has to be able to pass on the bulk.
Well,
so the government pass on the bulk to the final consumers, and because the question there is, yes, they claim that they are not against regulation, NATO and IPMA members, but maybe the government needed to be able to come to terms with them and discuss, as the Lagos State government released yesterday. But just like, because the question was be like, where is the money going to? Is it in the private sector hand? Or is it the government and things like that? So these are what the government needed to be able to explain to all these truck drivers and ensure that there won't be further extortion in other places when they're actually driving their trucks. Because we use trucks for a lot of things, apart from food, fuel, and other things as well. So they don't need to actually be checked in that
all right.
that stead.
Mr. Josh has said that, look, we should Lagos State should wake up. Lagos State government should wake up and deal with this issue of touts collecting illegal levies. And of course, Mr. Mohammed Akanji has also said, look, for what it is, let us make sure the money, if at all levies be collected, should go to the right channel. When we started, we took something from the Vanguard, we also took from Punch, and then, of course, Business Day. On the reverse, Business Day, Vanguard, and Punch. Gentlemen, before we go, we have our cartoon of the day. Let us see what our cartoon of the day is, and who knows, we'll be able to learn one or two from it. And before it comes up, if you remember vividly, they say, in the midst of everything, right, creative work has a way of mellowing the heart. It's like a door to understand some certain things, But the strangest thing about cartoon is that if it gives you that idea of sarcasm, then it's doing its work.
Oh, I think that's not the idea. It's a comic relief, right? Provide that relief, especially when you be able to have some extensive discussion, some disheartening stories, some heart-boggling stories. Look at the Benny stories, and that's quite heart-wrenching. So sometimes I think cartoons like that is just to be able to lighten the mood, soften it up. Yes, creativity is there, but create that comic relief and then allow you to be able to have...
basically being able to sometimes just tell very serious thing
and
in a
very mild way.
In such a way that you pass the message.
Right.
But
message itself is very, very vital.
I remember yesterday's cartoon was quite interesting. We saw a building, designed with democracy, and it had a reporter.
Under it, okay?
I mean, I'm a reporter. It's like, imagine me trying to report news or something or happening, and then the building is falling on me. So, but that gave a vivid description of what is going in the country.
Yeah.
Saying that democracy might be crumbling, but at least we have a voice to talk about.
To hold it down there and then say to people and see how we can be able to put it up.
Anyways, that's interesting. Hopefully we'll take that one tomorrow. All right, gentlemen, thank you so much. I've had, before we go, so this is our cartoon of the day. Yes, it says, this is quite interesting. The president
very interesting.
Has commanded
us to reconcile. So here is my handshake. Wow. Wow. So what we can see there, we see a bandit. All covered up with official turbans and sound barriers around his face. I think they call that kind of clothes. Is this sound barrier? There's nothing we call it.
Okay.
Most of all these guys in the Sahel region
wear those things to stores that they tend to be able to
like that. So you can see, the guy. He's not wearing any form of official security clothes. So let's assume that
weapons
maybe he is a bandit, right? We don't want to depict any region at all, but let us assume he's a bandit. You see his gun behind. He's already smoking. In other words, just finished one operation somewhere, and his blood is cutlass or machete
is dripping blood. Yes,
dripping blood. And the hand that he is holding on to is no longer attached to a human being. So this gives you
because it's obvious. So after you severed the hand, after this person have actually been able to sever the hand, and it is just that statement that he made there. Okay, the president said that we should be able to reconcile.
Of course, that was
and there is my own handshake, and
the point is that when you reconcile, the next thing you do, you shake hands. So we are reconciled. Yeah, we shall. But the point is that the one that you want to reconcile with has lost the hand. So which hand is he going to shake with?
I didn't see from that angle. Wow, Mr. Josh.
Yeah, which hand is he going to shake with? The hand is gone. But still, which hand is he going to shake? The hand is gone.
It's gone.
Thank
you.
All right, gentlemen, thank you so much.
It is.
Yes. I think
is it like in the pool of blood? Is she like, because it appears that the body there is even lifeless?
No, it doesn't look like it. It's like the hand is severe. Yes, so but it's
and as much as it is it's telling us a story. We're trying to lighten up the mood.
Of course.
If you're back home,
that before you talk about reconciliation, before it gets to this level.
Yeah.
We needed to be able to.
It's also that before we can reconcile, let us all be alive.
Alive
so
first.
When we reconcile, we cannot
shake our hands,
not that the hands are
in harmony and in peace, rather than talking about somebody that is dead and you're talking about reconciling at that point.
But all in all, we hope and we actually pray, as much as I try to use that word, but let us pray that
The
these
changes
killings
besides,
and
this
this
is going to be the
whole
last we are going
bloodshed
to hear.
We'll
will
stop.
end, so that we can
Once and
all
for all, and finally, and
exactly
then go
all
back to
breathe
the
fresh
community.
air. All right, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining in.
Thank you
The
very
Super
much
Review,
for
and
having
obviously
us.
also analyzing our cutting of the day. It's a pleasure, most definitely. Back home, yes, we want to thank you so much. Don't go away. Coming up next, we have a market show for you. My name is Onyeka Valentine. Don't go away. Don't touch that dial. BDTV continues.